Are you ready? You are 17 years old, and this morning somebody told you that you are a god, not a priest, not a servant of a god, the living body of Tezcatlipoca, Lord of the Night Sky, walking around the largest city in the Americas in your own skin. You get 1 year. For that year, every single person in that city will drop to the ground when you walk past. You will eat what the emperor eats. Musicians will follow you. In the last 20 days, you will be given 4 wives, and then, on a morning that is already circled on a stone calendar, you will climb a staircase, and you will not come back down. So, let me ask you something before we start. If somebody offered you that deal right now, 1 perfect year, and then that, how long would you have to think about it? Hold that answer. We'll come back to it. First, you need to see where this happens because the setting is doing half the work. Tenochtitlan, built on an island in the middle of a shallow lake, joined to the mainland by 4 straight stone causeways wide enough for 8 people to walk side by side, canals instead of some of the streets, canoes instead of carts, floating garden plots at the edges of the city, growing food on the water itself, fresh water piped in from a spring on the mainland along a double aqueduct, 2 channels so one could be cleaned while the other kept running. How many cities in Europe, at that exact moment, had running water and street sweepers? Have a guess. The answer is fewer than you'd like. There was a market where you could buy feathers, chocolate, cloth, and obsidian blades sharper than surgical steel, all within about 30 paces of each other, and at the center of it, a walled plaza the size of several football pitches, ringed by a low wall carved with rows of stone serpent heads. In the middle of that, a stepped pyramid with 2 temples at the top, 1 painted blue, 1 painted red, and 1 staircase running all the way up the front. You'll see that staircase again at the end of this video. Remember it. Now, you were not born into any of this. You were captured. The Aztec Empire fought a very particular kind of war. The goal was not to take land. The goal was to take people, alive, and bring them home. So you were marched along one of those causeways in a line of prisoners into a city more impressive than anything you had ever seen, and you assumed you knew exactly how this ended. And then the priests started walking down the line, looking at faces. What do you think they were looking for? Not the strongest, not the bravest. They were looking for someone without a single flaw, no scars, no crooked teeth, no limp, no blemish on the skin, a body that looked the way a god was supposed to look. 1 man is pulled out of the line because of a scar on his shoulder. He goes with the others. You watch him go. Then a priest with his face painted black stops in front of you, tilts your chin up, looks at your teeth, and nods at somebody behind him. And here is a genuinely horrible question. At that moment, do you think you would have felt lucky? You would have. Everyone did. Because you have no idea yet what you have been selected for. They now have a problem. They have a prisoner, and in 1 year they need a god. So they teach you. They teach you to walk, not to march, to move the way a deity moves. Slowly, never hurried, never looking like you are going anywhere in particular. They teach you to play the flute. 4 small clay flutes. Not adequately. Perfectly. They teach you to speak. What to say, how to say it, and mostly when to say absolutely nothing. They teach you how to receive a person who has thrown themselves face down on the stone in front of you, which, it turns out, is a skill. And somewhere in that year, the men who tied your hands start washing your feet. When would that have stopped feeling strange to you? A month? 2? Faster than you think. That is the uncomfortable part. Then they dress you, and the year properly begins. Turquoise, gold, a collar that covers your whole chest, green Quetzal feathers, each one worth more than a laborer earned in a season, gold discs in your ears, 2 black stripes painted across your face. There is a polished black obsidian mirror on the wall of your rooms, because the name of the god you now are means smoking mirror. You look into it. What would you have felt looking at that? Be honest. Then you walk outside, and the street stops. Not politely. Completely. People go down onto the paving stones in a wave that spreads ahead of you faster than you are walking. People bring you flowers. People bring you food you have never seen. People lift up their children so you will touch their heads, and then they cry about it. 8 servants follow you everywhere. Not guards, servants, to carry things. At night, you walk through the city playing your flute, and people wake up and come out of their houses and stand in their doorways to listen, and they are grateful. Not performing gratitude, actually grateful. Nobody in that city is lying to you. Nobody is pretending. For 1 year, to every person there, you are the god, not a symbol of him. So when do you think it hits you? Which day? Not the first. The first month is the best month anyone has ever had. It comes later, and it comes from a strange direction. You realize you have nothing left to want. You cannot be promoted. You cannot save anything up. You cannot fall in love with someone you have to earn because everyone already adores you by decree. You cannot make a plan for next spring because you are not going to be in next spring. Every good thing you could have worked toward has already been placed in your hands, and there is exactly one item left on your schedule, and the date does not move. Now think about who else knows that date. Your servants know, the priests know, the woman who hands you flowers on the street knows, the child she lifts up knows. You go back to your rooms and look into the obsidian mirror again. Same feathers, same gold, same face, same feeling. 20 days out, 4 women are brought to you. They are given the names of goddesses. They are yours and you are theirs, and you have 20 days, and everybody involved knows the number. This was recorded as an honor. By the standards of that world, it was 1. It is also, if you sit with it for 4 seconds, about the cruelest possible timing anybody has ever arranged. Or am I wrong? Then things start leaving. The gold collar, collected. The bracelets, collected. The ear discs, the headdress, the feathers, collected, one at a time, by people who bow while they take them. Nothing is stolen. Everything is returned. Politely. You go to look into the obsidian mirror, and there is a pale circle on the wall where it used to hang. By the last morning, you are standing in plain cloth with smudged paint on your face, barefoot, holding 4 clay flutes. There is a temple, and it has a staircase, and the staircase is very long and very steep. You climb it yourself. Why do you think nobody carries you? Nobody drags you? Because a god does not need to be dragged. That is the whole architecture of the thing. The dignity is the point, and the dignity has to be yours. And as you climb, at each landing, you break 1 flute. The flutes you spent a year learning to play perfectly. You snap them and let the pieces fall on the steps behind you. 4 flutes, 4 landings. By the top, you are holding nothing. There are 5 men waiting, and 1 blade of black obsidian, and what happens next takes less than a minute. By that evening, your body has been carried back down. By the next morning, the priests are already walking through a line of new prisoners, tilting chins up, looking at teeth. So, back to the question from the start. Here is the part that should genuinely bother you. This was not a punishment. It was not an execution, and it was not a tragedy. Not in that world. It was an honor, and there were more candidates for it than there were positions, because the alternative for a captured man was dying anonymously with 100 others and being remembered by nobody. This way, you got a year of genuine worship, your name in people's mouths, and a death the entire city turned out for, which means the man with the scar on his shoulder, the one who got pulled out of the line, he was not spared. He lost. You were born in the wrong century. So was everybody standing in that plaza, looking up, wishing it were them.